So why I made this? It's a long story, but after a very hard period, I came up with new musical ideas that I wanted to explore, and yeah, it came out really quickly. To begin with, part 1, consisting of 10 tracks plus 1 bonus, with collaborations with Marcus Schulz, Jono Bayer, Antidote, among others. And yeah, 11 progressive trance tracks, very accessible, and still cutting a bit ties with my past. So they were a lot slower, but also a lot softer in terms of content, which was my direction of back in the day, you know. Progressive trance really blew up in 2005, coinciding with the release of this first part, so it makes sense, especially the first singles. Secondly, we had a very nice attempt at making, let's say, darker sounds, among others progressive house, but also techno and let's say electro house, something like this, with progressive aggressive tracks such as Mice that I made with Ozgur Khan, and also Ping Pong that got released, re-released recently on vinyl. And these tracks, even though darker, proved to be very efficient on the dance floor. So it was really dance floor oriented, whereas the first part was a lot more, let's say, for the transfers. And then we have part 3, which was the follow-up to my first ambient explorations. And there I just, you know, let's say 15 days before submitting the master of everything, as I only had 2 parts from there and no album name. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna make something a bit different in the ambient, you know, ambient genres, just as a tryout, something like that. And it was put together in a matter of 10 days. So I made a track each and every single day. We have the likes of Beam, Sleep Along, Triple CP Genius, and of course the main title, Trilogique, being really successful. So overall you have 3 parts, each consisting of a very specific genre. And I was really happy with the result, and after that the reception from the audience, which was great. I went on tour for like a year on the back of this album release, so I was really happy with it. Inspiration for the part 1 was basically the US, let's say the US side of progressive trance, really becoming famous with the likes of Gabriel and Dresden, but also Black Watch and rest in peace Bill Hamel, among others. So really cool music that they were playing back in the day. So very good experience. We also can mention the likes of Junkie XL, of course, who is an all-time hero of mine. For part 2, I went to listen to a lot of global underground releases from back in the day, but also the earlier ones with darker sound and everything. Plus music from the likes of James Holden, among others. And then part 3 got inspired mainly by the growing and the blooming side of Psy ambient, that we also call Psybient, from the likes of carbon-based life forms, but also AS Dana, and many more from multiple labels, really. Cool music that I discovered just before making those 10 tracks out of the blue. So great times. The gear used for all three albums was very simple. Just my Mac and Aster keyboard, basically, and I remember that being the period where I got rid of all of my hardware synthesizers, all at once. So I ended 2004 selling all of my hardware gear and just going for software. And this is where I could just express myself. So keep this, you know, I kept this as a lesson personally. Less is always more. So in terms of gear, the less you have, the more you do, the more you make. My favorite track of each album is going to be a bit difficult because there are so many I like in Trilogique. It's just crazy. But just to name a few, on the first part we have Terra Firma that I did with Antidote, but also we have Angelica, a track that I did with Marcus Schulz. That remains really cool for that period. We have The Promise I Made, but for me the winner for that album is probably Sky Blues, because it was the first track I did for that album, and it just was it. I knew it. Then we have the second part, probably yeah, Ping Pong, because it's just a crazy track that I did in no time, and it even now whenever I play it just goes crazy on the dance floor. And then the third part, that's gonna be Sleep Alone, a great track that I did in 3 hours, I think. Well, out of the blue. So great albums overall, all put into a single package. Really proud of this one.